And the bearded dragon.
Yeah. True too. True too. Bearded dragon getting in early on the robot craze.
Shout out to Burdersfield, New Jersey. Haven't been to the store yet. Haven't been back in Jersey and had the opportunity, but would love to check it out. I got some roots there where the store is, where my grandparents used to live.
Both these players on a mulligan to 5. There's a Horizon Canopy and the Champion of the Paris is where Jorden Hoflock will start for Pieter Tuburgen, representing the robots. The enemy, one may say.
I don't know. It's not been the greatest run for humans either. I'm kind of neutral, I gotta say.
Welding Jar, Mox Opal. Let's go back over to Lauren. Here's an attack. Excuse me. Let's go over to Jordan. Attack for 1. Pieter will draw.
So,
boy, this is nice.
both players bringing their A game.
Yeah, in for one more. Let's make this the best of SCG Tour moment. Cue it up. Darksteel Citadel's game, by the way.
Second Mox. Ooh, a vial. All right, now we're going.
All right.
Tuburgen really needs a mana source next turn.
If he draws Darksteel Citadel, it is game.
Even any land might allow him to play at 1 and then the floodgates open.
Drew Darksteel Citadel.
That's game.
It is game.
That's game.
It is game.
All right, let's go. I like Tuburgen slow rolling the land here. Got to think about whether or not I'm going to play it.
He's just thinking about
I know he's thinking
all
about
the things he can do.
He's thinking about his sequencing. I'm not, you know.
He might be able to play 4 things this turn. Is Tuburgen the bearded dragon?
Is he named after the store? Is the store named after him?
I have a lot of questions. That beard is fierce.
I'd be surprised if there was an ownership group of a retail store in New Jersey who's like, I think we should name our store after Pieter Tuburgen's new nickname that we're giving him, which is the Bearded Dragon.
Look at that beard, though.
Oh, no. I mean, it fits. It definitely fits.
For as long as I've been doing coverage, I've never seen. That's it? You kidding me? I've never seen Pieter I've never seen Pieter with his hat off.
It's true.
I don't know what his hair looks like.
I've hung out with him a little bit. We've taught in and outside the tournament hall, and you're right. I have never seen it.
He could have luscious locks, and we would never know. But we do know that he's got a fierce beard. Hoflock attacks for 1, Vial up to 1, no second land. Tuburgen. Let's see if he can do a little bit more now that his Mox Opal's online.
That was a surprisingly modest turn from Tuburgen last turn.
That's a little better. Arcbound Ravager. Pass a turn back. A Vial up to 2 here for Hoflock.
I still think if Hoflock's doesn't have a second land here and can't make 2 plays in 1 turn, that Tuburgen's position still should be good. We don't know the contents of his hand, other than it being all spells, but it's got to be pretty powerful if he didn't dump out on the last 2 turns.
Champion of the Parish coming across here for 1, potentially 3 if you throw Thalia's Lieutenant into the equation. Tuburgen's got a lot of life to work with, though, so I'd be surprised if we saw any blocking here.
Well, I don't know if that's true. Tuburgen's definitely thinking about it, and if he's got another Mox in his hand, that is an incentive to try to eat up here. Yeah, right. He's going to make the block.
Well, there's card sale Freebooter.
I mean, Freebooter is that's really
pretty good.
That's good news for Tuburgen. If it's Thalia's Lieutenant, then you got to start making some tough calls because you got to eat the Mox, and then beyond that, you still have some work to do. But if it's just a Freebooter to a 2/2, that's easy. You can eat the spare Mox, and although it appears no Mox in hand. Excuse me.
Okay, yeah, I thought there was another Mox too. There's 2 Galvanic Blasts, 2 Etched Champions, and a Cranial Plating. So that's why we haven't seen him really go nuts yet. Hard to poke a hole in this hand, though. I'm going to take the plating.
And I imagine Tuburgen here will, I would guess, eat the Welding Jar.
The jar and the Pest, probably?
Yeah. He needs his mana, so.
Mm-hmm. He'll still have Metalcraft if he eats the jar and the Pest.
And he's not. Yeah, he's not down any mana. He doesn't have to sacrifice any mana sources, and he gets to keep Metalcraft.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other way to do it, I guess, is just let the Ravager die and move over to the Signal Pass. That's
sure.
fine too. Yep.
All right, let's go back over to Pieter. Springleaf Drum. Remember, both these players did mulligan at 5, so they are certainly working with less resources than normal.
Game is now starting to get off the ground a little bit. Yeah, I suppose from Tuburgen's perspective, it's not really that great to move a lot of resources either onto the Ravager or onto the Signal Pest because Hoflock is threatening a Reflector Mage next turn. So why bother?
Sure. Ooh, second land, lucky.
Yeah, now it gets good. Now we're humming.
Hoflock left the Violet 2. He's going to have to take 2 for whatever he's about to play. Value's Lieutenant. Trigger on the stack. It looks like we'll see a little vialing here. Another Thalia's Lieutenant. So here we go.
I imagine this is going to induce the Galvanic Blast here from Tuburgen in some form or fashion. I would guess getting rid of the Freebooter and then unlocking your other Galvanic, unlocking the Cranial Pitting is the way to go.
That's what it looks like. Now Lieutenants will resolve.
It is really such a relief when they finally tap their vial. When the vial's up and it's like, do you want to respond? Oh man, is that stressful.
So we should have one with 2 counters, one with 1. There we are. Back to Pieter. So time for a Etched Champion, perhaps?
Now with the plating unlocked, that play gets a little bit more attractive. And you've taken Phantasmal Image out of the equation in terms of interaction for the cranial plating, so it has to be another freebooter.
A Vial up to 3 now. We'll see if Hoflock has something like a Manus Rider to maybe take things to the skies.
Yeah, I mean, plating on an Etched Champion is very problematic here for humans in this spot.
Like this attack.
Yeah, it's a freebie.
6 damage coming through on the ground? Or 6 damage coming through, period. Means Tuburgen's going to fall down to 10. Go back over to Pieter now. Oh, he's got another Galvanic Blast in hand. That's a timely Spire. Really needed that.
Yeah. So it seems, so he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he puts plating on the Etched Champion. So, 7 times 2 is 14. And if you have a Galvanic Blast, it seems, my instinct here is just put plating on the Etched Champion, hit, leave the Signal Pass back on D, and hope between the Galvanic Blast and chump blocking that you can get out next turn and then finish out the game with your Etched Champion plus plating.
All right, well, that's what he's going to try to do. Strikes me as maybe a little risky.
I mean,
we'll see.
It's risky to give Hoflock more turns here. I mean, he's been missing land drops for forever.
Yeah.
His hand's 3 spells. And another nice thing about this attack, if you have the Galvanic Blast, is Hoflock can't use the Horizon Canopies for mana, because if he taps him, he goes to 4 and you just kill him.
You just kill him, sure.
So this is asking a lot here for Hoflock to be able to maneuver out of this spot.
We'll see if Hoflock can maneuver out of this situation.
Really hard to beat a chump blocker and a removal spell here. That is asking a lot, especially when you can't use your lands. You have 1 Vial activation to work with here.
Yeah, the inability to use lands, I think, is the biggest hiccup You basically get to do one thing.
Well, if you had something like Reflector Mage on the Signal Pest, that could force the issue for Tuburgen to Galvanic Blast one of your creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done that, now your Horizon Canopies are back online. But this requires Hoflock to have a very specific hand for this to even matter. I think it's a non-starter if he doesn't have a Reflector Mage. If he does, then, if he has something like Reflector Mage plus Thalia's Lieutenant, maybe that's enough. But it needs to be something like that.
Oof, 5.
5's not 4.
Champion, maybe? Yep.
Yep, it's just more Lieutenant triggers.
Vial. Reflector.
Okay.
So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. It's gonna. Let's see.
If he targets the 4/4 champion of the Thalia's Lieutenant, then we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Little
Something like that.
little short.
I count 1 point short here.
A little short.
Although if he has a second 1-mana human, then he's good.
Noble Hierarch or Champion.
Then he's good.
Yep.
This is my current read of the situation.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, not okay. Yeah, trigger. Yeah, he's got a Galvanic Blast to 4/4. Yep. So now the trigger will resolve. Counter there. Counter on the champion, so long as he remembers. Yeah, and we are going to be short. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tuburgen's going to fall down to 1. Tuburgen's going to very quickly untap, draw, maybe play some various spells. Yep.
Just a little insurance just to make sure.
Uh-huh. That there. Attack you. Kill you. Fair enough. Pieter Tuburgen going to win game number 1 here over Jorden Hoflock. Affinity. Up a game here over humans. The battle of robots versus humans currently on the side of robots. Mm-hmm. We will
Beep boop.
tune in for game number 2 in just a minute. We are back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, getting ready to watch game number 2 between Jorden Hoflock and Pieter Tuburgen, humans versus Affinity. Hoflock will be on the play here for game number 2. It looks like he's got some pretty good tools to bring to the table here. 2 Gut Shot, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Orioc Champion, 2 Kataki War's Wage, 2 as a Staticaster, 2 Reclamation Sage, a Selfless Spirit, a Restoration Angel, and a Dismember.
Oh boy. Dismember, 2 Gut Shots, 2 Katakis, 2 Is It Staticasters, and 2 Reclamation Sages. Just an awesome sideboard.
Yeah, he has a lot of goodies to bring here, does Hoflock. Tuburgen, currently up a game. He's got some things too, but nowhere near the amount as Hoflock, as he's got 2 Gear Power Ether Grids, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Stubborn Denial, and a bunch of 1-ups here in Warship Rest in Peace, Dispatch, Whip Flare, Vandablast, Karn, Sign of Urza, Grafdigger's Cage, Stain the Mind, and Ceremonious Rejection.
So I would imagine the Dispatch comes in this matchup. I would probably bring in the Aether Grid as well. It isn't great all the time, but if Hoflock basically doesn't kill creatures, you can eventually size up to a point where you're killing more significant threats. I'd bring in the 1 Warship too.
Well, those are the options there for both players, and we will see how they do elect a sideboard, and we will underway here in just a moment. Tuburgen able to win a game in which both players did mulligan to 5. Things were not pretty for either player that game, but Pieter able to do just enough to get the job done. So we prepare here for game number 2. And Nick Miller coming by, giving us our metagame breakdown. So we will have that as well here after the round. And we will start with Jorden Hoflock here. And Hoflock is not happy with those. So he will send it on back. Tuburgen will take a long look at his 7 before deciding if he wants to keep or mulligan. Looks like Pieter with a lot to think about here. Well, Jordan will take a look at his hand again. Let's talk game night real quick, shall we, partner?
Hit me.
3 newbies. It's May. Not for much longer. Feline Focus.
Yeah, you can over to go.starcgames.com/game night and find out more information. Every month we send out kits to the stores that are signed up for game night with pins and tokens, and then stores can run game night and hand out the contents of these kits to their players. Right now we're in May for a little bit longer, and that kit is Feline Focus. You can see the pins on our lapels this weekend. We got a couple more kits coming down the hopper here. In June, we have a prehistoric playtime, and then in July, Playing with Fire. Again, go.starcitygames.com/game night. Find the game night closest to you and stores. If you want to get signed up for game night, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
We'll start things off with the Cavern of Souls Noble Hierarch here for Jorden Hoflock. For Pieter Tuburgen, his first turn. Let's see what it yields. Spire of Industry, Mox Opal. Galvanic Blast going to take care of the Noble Hierarch. Wants to slow down the development there of Hoflock, especially when Hoflock is on a mulligan.
And without a vial. You want to really go after the mana creatures in that case.
Back over to Jordan, we are going to go. Looks like he does have land number 2. It'll be an Ancient Ziggurat. This is a Meddling Mage. We will see what that will name.
A little bit surprised to see this post board. Doesn't brawl all that well, and Affinity does have some high leverage cards, but there's enough removal. The game's often enough about combat that this would be, with Hoflock having so many awesome cards to bring in, I'm surprised to see this one.
This one's got a name Etched Champion. We head back over to Tuburgen. Tuburgen will play a Vault Scourge. He'll pay 2 life to do so, and simply pass the turn back over to Hoflock. Hoflock will draw. Cavern of Souls. Gonna name Human again, I imagine, and we might have a Mantis Rider on the horizon. And we do. It'll be an attack for just 3. A little surprised by the no attack there with the Meddling Mage.
Me too.
We head back over to Tuburgen.
Yeah, I mean, Tuburgen without even Metalcraft. So
yeah, there's nothing to fear outside of maybe a really weird mutagenic growth, which would trade with your Mantis Rider anyway. So, a little surprised.
Tuburgen kind of struggling to get off the ground a little bit with mana. Once he has a 3rd artifact in the equation, then the Opal's on and he can really start rolling. But second straight game, he's been a little slow out of the gates.
Oh, there is a Blinkmoth Nexus. Vault Scourge is going to wear a hat, and it'll be attack there for 4 lifelink. So Tuburgen's going to go up to 18. Hoflock will fall down to 16. It's a Horizon Canopy. Hoflock will sacrifice the Horizon Canopy to draw a new card. Looks like he picked up a copy of Seachrome Coast with that draw. This is a Phantasmal Image. Going to copy Mana Strider, and Meddling Mage will not attack again.
Gotta get in.
Yeah.
It's 4 points. Game looks a lot different with Tuburgen at 8 right now.
That's for sure. Pieter going to go to Arcbound Ravager now. And Thoughtcast. 2 cards on the way. Vault Scourge among those draws. Not sure if Pieter has a land to play or not this turn. He hasn't played one just yet. And potentially another Mox Opal.
I mean, the straightforward thing to do here is just dump as many artifacts as you can on the table and try to race with the Vault Scourge plus plating.
Yep.
So if Tuburgen has things he can play, he would definitely be playing them.
Be a hit for 5. We head back over to Hoflock now.
Still have not seen any of Hoflock's A+ sideboard cards here, and all of them would be good.
Yeah, I haven't seen Reclamation Sage, Staticaster, Kataki, none of that stuff just yet. Let's see what this is going to be. Phantasmal Image, going to copy Mana Strider. All right, 9 in the air. Meddling Mage still going to hang back on defense. I am curious what the rationale is.
I mean, at least this turn we've reached the point where Tuburgen could do something about the Meddling Mage, but it just still seems so... I mean, if he trades off the Ravager and some artifacts, like, that's great.
Pretty happy. Oof, got shot. Well, now's a good time to maybe use that Ravager to make this Vault Scourge a little bit larger.
Definitely. I mean, he needs the lifelink. That's the only way he can stay in this game.
Mm-hmm. We'll head back over to Pieter now, who needs to dump some more artifacts on the battlefield.
Still has Metalcraft and 3 mana, and he has not been doing a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see what his hand is like, because it's just been really slow. He has not had an explosive affinity turn just yet. But it feels like it should be available to him, unless his hand's just a bunch of edge champion.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on in his hand, because he's got so many cards over there, and he's got access to 3 mana, which is a lot for an affinity deck. And yet we haven't seen him do all that much. He even cast the Thoughtcast. Well, he's doing a little bit of math now. I think I do see an Ornithopter over there.
Ornithopter quietly a big draw, as he just needs more artifacts, and it's something that he can move the plating to post-combat to block.
Here's a Ravager. Here's an Ornithopter. There is an Etched Champion over there. This is another Vault Scourge. Going to pay 2 life for that. There's another plating over there, too. Now here's an attack with a pretty large Vault Scourge. So 1, 2, 3. Looks like there's 6 artifacts on the battlefield.
I can't abide by...
I don't want anything to do with a double block.
Once you're blocking against someone with plating, when the game's close, it's over.
Yep.
Because the plating doesn't go anywhere. And it's especially rough when he's played the second Vault Scourge. You could maybe talk me into it if it's one source of lifelink and once that's off the table, I can manage everything else. But next turn, he's just going to be back in the same spot. Tuburgen's pulled himself up now to 14, and now you're hitting for 6 instead of 9, and you're going to be back up against it the next turn.
Yeah. Here comes Meddling Mage and everything else now.
I mean, I think Tuburgen has an Edge Champion in his hand, so there's some value in getting this mage off the table. I'm probably just taking this. If Hoflock can't win the battle over Cranial Plating and the other artifacts, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is an attacker for 3, 6, 7, 8. You think about worst case scenario here. You take 8, you fall down to 6, and then let's say like a Kessic Malcontents works itself into the equation, you'd fall down to 2. So I don't think there's any way that you die this turn.
Yeah, and you get access to your chump blocks the next turn. Anyway, they don't go anywhere. I think your artifacts are just too valuable of a resource for racing here. And I think trying to chump a Mantis Rider is just a non-starter, and any block on the Meddling Mage just looks too awkward to me. I think the 2 artifacts you're giving up are just more valuable than what the Meddling Mage represents.
Follow up here is another Meddling Mage. We'll see what this one's going to name.
I would probably name Galvanic Blast, but we'll see.
First one naming Etch Champion. We'll see what the second one does name here momentarily. Galvanic Blast is the name. To Pieter Tuburgen we go. He draws a Spire of Industry. That could be helpful. Oh, that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at Warship.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Don't that.
Let's check that out.
The lamest card in existence.
All you who complain about Ensnaring Bridge and not this card, only do it because people don't play with this card. It's the same thing.
If you control a creature, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead.
Worth noting here that this is not Platinum Angel. You can't go to 1. Hoflock has Reclamation Sages in his deck, but he has to play them before combat, and then Tuburgen has the information. So as long as the Worship's in play, Tuburgen just gets to go no blocks. Whereas Platinum Angel, you go into the negatives, and then if your Platinum Angel ever dies, you lose on the spot. Yep. So Worship is even more padding than something like Platinum Angel is.
Yep. And for humans to kill all the creatures is pretty tough.
Hoflock has to kill the Worship. There's no way he's going to be able to manage this with working down all the creatures.
Yeah. It's a card that we have seen Todd Stevens use to great effect in Green White Company, and now we see it showing up in various sideboards. I like this one here with Affinity.
Just one. Just need the one.
Mantis Rider going to come in. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take all of them. The follow-up. Thalia. Guardian of Thraben. Tuburgen will draw. Now, I do want to take a quick peek at Spire of Industry.
I think it's Pay a Life.
I think it may be. You might be right. Pay a life. It could be take a damage.
It's so bizarre when you're tapping as a cost to make part of the card's activation a cost and part of it just part of resolution.
All right, it is pay a life.
Right. It is. That's some nonsense City of Brass kind of action. They don't make them like that anymore.
It is pay a life, not deal a damage. So another Cranial Plating going to come down. This one does cost 3. See where Tuburgen is going to place this one. Put it on Vault Scourge. Pass the turn back. Tuburgen in no real rush now. He just wants to get everything set up. There are some concerns in case Reclamation Sage does show up, obviously. This is a Kitesail Freebooter. Tuburgen has Etched Champions aplenty. Pass the turn back. Tuburgen will draw.
Yeah, the Tuburgen is. I mean, you'd always prefer to get the game over with as soon as possible, but the only real concern here is if Hoflock draws an Aether Vial. Because the way that Tuburgen can lose this game is a Reclamation Stage at instant speed. If Hoflock has to play a Reclamation Stage before combat and blow up the Worship, that's fine. You block, you have a Vault Scourge, gain some life, you're mostly fine. It has to basically be, you have a Vial on 3, Hoflock makes an Alpha Strike, you no block, or maybe you block a little bit to accrue some value, and then before damage is dealt, the Reclamation Stage comes in and blows up your Worship. That's the problem. So with Hoflock not having an Aether Vial, Tuburgen has a lot of time to set up here. If Hoflock draws an Aether Vial, that might compel Tuburgen to move a little bit faster.
Look like Vault Scourge is going to wear multiple hats now. Curious to see if he wants to attack with it. Looks like he may.
Because this is the position here is a little bit weird because you want to get the game over with, but every time you trade like this, you're not making a lot of headway in your ability to attack, and you're down a creature. And if you start losing your creatures, then your Worship can get shut off.
But he's always got that Blinkmoth Nexus hanging out back there.
Yeah, he's got some. He's got some cover. It's just once you have Worship in play, trading creature for creature doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you also don't want to wait all day because it's not like you've got a hammerlock on this game. Something can happen to your Worship, and then you're playing again.
Yeah. All right, here come the Knuckleheads. See, I have a feeling I know what Tuburgen is trying to set up here, which is being able to attack with 3 flying creatures and then move Cranial Plague and instant speed.
Right.
Also, oh boy.
Well, this is easy mode now for Tuburgen. If the Meddling Mage on Etch Champion dies here, he's got Etch Champions in his hand, moves the plating, and the game's trivial.
Yeah, and if there's no backup Etch Champion, or excuse me, if there's no backup Meddling Mage, we're done. So there's your trade. Pass the turn back. There's Swamp. Yep, Tuburgen can't play that one fast enough. That's for sure. I'm going to move Cranial Plating there, pass the turn back.
Okay, I guess if he's got the 1/1 counter on the Vault Scourge, he's covered against Gutshot.
Yeah, and Staticaster, all that other stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say this is actually a little bit riskier from Tuburgen's perspective than I would have liked. I think I might have just sent in the Vault Scourge just to get that padding. You gain so much life here. The Vault Scourge back on defense means that if something happens to the Vault Scourge and something happens to the Worship, you die. That's asking a lot at a Hoflock, but I think that if you just gain whatever it is, 14, then you don't have to worry about even the Worship dying. See if it matters, and I'm sure Tuburgen's got other considerations he's mulling over right now, but my instinct there was just send in the Vault Scourge and cash that in for a bunch of life.
I'm trying to think of how hairy things get if Kataki shows up.
That's another reason I was about to mention. That's another reason for cashing in the Vault Scourge. It's good to hedge off and trade in some of your artifacts for good value if you can, because it sort of dampens the impact of Kataki if it shows up. If he says Kataki go, then it's like you would have wished you had cast in the Vault Scourge for a card and a bunch of life.
Well, there's Rex Sage. Okay.
Yeah. This is the reason I wish Tuburgen had sent in.
Still think Pieter's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yep.
If this is all he's got, he's fine. But I think that was a risk that had a low chance but could have possibly backfired.
Mem Knights, Etch Champion, move 2 platings. That's going to do it. Pieter Tuburgen going to win this match over Jorden Hoflock. 2-0. Affinity going to take care of humans. And, of course, the robots reign supreme over human beings.
This is one more win or loss, depending on perspective.
That's true.